Talk365's Talking Wellness segment is brought to you by the Certified Hypnotherapy Training School with wellness team expert Dennis Parker.
Hey everybody, welcome to Talk365's Talking Wellness series. If you are watching this right now, that means you saw us on Talk365, you logged onto the website and you want more information, you want more details, you want us to go longer, give more examples, talk about more wonderful things that hypnotherapy can do for you, more things about the Certified Hypnotherapy Training School. Dennis, are you ready to go longer with me? Stick to it. Are you going to need a power nap? Have I exhausted you?
You pretty much exhausted me, but I'll stick with you. Let's go for it.
All right, here we go. Let's jump in. So we are talking stress-induced illnesses, and we're going to talk a little bit longer about how hypnotherapy is such a great way to treat them.
Okay, so the brain is a big electrical center. So a thought has a frequency. An emotion has a frequency. And so as these emotions come across, they generate a frequency in the brain. And what we've also learned is that the imagination, again, that we keep talking about, is the amplifier to the amount of electrical energy or content that goes on in the brain. So you can literally kind of turn the amperage up, or the strength of the emotion electrically in the brain. When that happens, now that energy has to go somewhere, so it dumps off down through the central nervous system into the body. What's different about what we do here and our approach to it is we have a different model, if you will, or a belief about what's going on. And I'm not a doctor, so let's just put that on the table. This is just what I've observed over many, many years and doing thousands of sessions. Where all this really starts again, and that's what my book's about and so on, is that we have learned how to work with or affect what we want to call our intelligence. And in the realms that I come from, I was always taught and understand that it was our intelligence that existed first, and then it controls the brain again, and then the brain controls the body.
Which, as you break it down like that, makes such perfect sense. I think the spirit, the intelligence, the higher power, whatever it is that you feel comfortable calling that, where thoughts are born, I think nobody disputes the fact that there is something there running the show that's a little bit higher up.
Right.
And that is that spirit mind that you're talking about.
Right.
It runs it. If you can get to that, it is the center of control to most of the problems.
Exactly. So, for example, if we have worry in our spirit, worry translates in our spirit to a worry frequency in the brain. That worry frequency, we like to call it maladaptive energy or negative energy. But when you have worry, anger, fear, so on, those negative thoughts at the spirit level in the mind translate as a negative energy in the brain. That negative energy now in the brain of worry, we know through experience, it dumps off into the stomach. And so our belief is that as it dumps off into the stomach, it'll do a couple of things. Because it's maladaptive negative energy, it knocks the stomach out of normal, healthy immune function. And when you knock the stomach out of normal, healthy immune function, now it's compromised, and so things like your H. pylori and so on have more of an opportunity to develop or grow because the stomach is not functioning.
It's down.
Yeah, it's down.
Weakness is down.
That's right. And so those kinds of things have a greater opportunity to grow organically because emotionally that organ or gland or muscle group is being knocked off normal, healthy immune function. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense.
So we've long known, and people have connected the dots, the idea that don't worry, you're going to get an ulcer. Let's say you have the H. pylori and it's 50% organic and 50% emotionally driven because you've been knocked off normal frequency.
Yeah.
You can expect to get at least a 50% benefit because we can go in and handle the worry and the emotions with you and teach you how to desensitize that yourself.
Yeah.
So now that at least to that 50% level
Is taken care of.
is taken care of. So now the stomach is functioning on normal, healthy immune function. And once it does, now that's usually able to overcome most or all of the organic problems because the stomach is running back
You
on.
actually have an immune system working again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So even though we're considered to be non-medical, we know what we do has huge health benefits and healing effects because we're resetting the dis-ease, the dis-ease at the spirit level that actually is creating disease out in the body level.
Because like you said, I know for a fact that I was under stress, and just taking antacids wasn't helping me. But coming here and getting to the root of it and managing my stress in positive ways and using positive mind management, I'm doing great. I want to knock on wood somewhere, but you know, I'm doing great, and I'm working with other doctors to get, like you said, the biology side, the actual H. pylori, the bacteria and healthy flora in my tummy. I'm over here working on this, but it's working, and I feel good. And that right there is key, having some hope for some progress, I think, for people that are especially suffering with things like fibromyalgia, arthritis, IBS, any others that you can think of out there?
Asthma is usually emotionally induced to a huge degree.
Oh, really?
Yeah, asthma as a problem comes in generally, the emotional root driver of asthma is fear. And the people that I've worked with asthma, for the most part, generally have had some severe abuse or different kinds of things, or they have, you know, a lot of fear in their background. Fear as an emotion comes through the brain as a maladaptive energy and seems to tend to dump off into the diaphragm and into the lungs. It becomes a fear of taking in life. There's a book I use all the time as kind of our emotional diagnostic tool. It's that book from Louise Hay.
I love Louise L. Hay.
You can heal your body, and in there it gives you kind of the emotion and the disease kind of thing with the emotion. And I've used that book for years, and I've really found it to be really accurate. But so you can go in and kind of, for the emotional side of things, check that out, and then we know how to go into, again, to the subconscious mind and address those thoughts and issues that are being amplified through the imagination, alter the perception of the memories, shut down the emotion, which shuts off the electrical maladaptive energy in the brain. So once again, then the brain resets the body goes back into normal immune function, and now begins to just heal naturally. So asthma is we've been very successful with a number of clients with asthma.
They're off their medication, they're off their puffers, they're able to just walk away free.
One example of a story was I had a 14-year-old girl brought into me by her parents, and she wanted to run cross-country track with her friends. But she was running track with 2 inhalers and an EpiPen attached to her. And she really wanted to do this. And so they brought her in, and we were successful at going in and addressing these fears. She was an adopted child and come up through, you know, the system and had some real severe problems. But as all of that's been addressed, and then not just with what I did, she also had other counselors. But the fact that we were able to go in at that deep level, when she finally released that in my office, those abreactions we call it, all of a sudden she took a deep breath and released that from her diaphragm, and she's been breathing normally and running ever since for the last couple of years without any inhalers. And so,
wow.
Yeah, so
I felt the need to like breathe right then. I was like breathing with you and with her. Again, like how amazing of a life change that must be to live her life so differently.
Yeah, so we've been very successful, migraine pain. So just a quick story. I mean, we have what we call case work clients that come into the school. They're people who we offer therapy for free, but they come into the school and then we're allowed to film them and use their experience to train more students with. We just finished with a case work client who has had migraine pain 4 or 5 a week or more ever since she was in the 8th grade, and she's now 24 years old.
Wow.
And they had her parents had had her to every methodology they could find and every deal. And so when her mother actually came in as a student in the school and told me about her daughter and asked if we wouldn't see what we could do. We just finished up her 6th session a couple of weeks ago, and her mother, I checked with her last night in school, how's she doing, and she gave me the 2 thumbs up. She's had no migraine pain now for 2 weeks. And she's now stabilized, and she knows how to manage her mind, and she's making that whole thing work for her. And just thrilled because she's getting married here in a few weeks, and she finally has no migraine pain. But again, it was psychosomatically or emotionally induced pain. That's the area that we're effective in.
What a different life this girl is going to have from now on.
When she finished up this last session, and she had maintained pretty well for the last week before she came in, she only had 1 that week. We went back and we cleared out some other of those painful thoughts and things that we talk about. And now, since then, in the last 2 weeks, she's been completely free. Well, and again, this emotional thing carries over into lots of areas of health. So in weight loss, for example, I kind of have this belief that our physical weight oftentimes represents the emotional weight that we're carrying.
Oh dear.
And so what happens is when people come in and they dump off the emotional weight, it's like the body can release the physical weight that's been attached to that emotional weight, so to speak, and it's fun to watch because sometimes people just kind of melt right in the chair. You'll see their facial.
He's saying people, but he means me, because at the end of the day, I was really struggling with this water weight gain. I kept calling it bloating and puffiness because it was happening. My legs would swell up. At one point, that was one of the reasons they sent me to the ER. My legs were so swollen and my ankles, and there's really no reason. Basically, we would come in, and yeah, I would feel it. I would feel my pants loose when I was walking out the door. I'm like, this is nuts, but you and I use this example a lot. I like it because it demystifies it for me.
Well, it's about the processes we understand. It's about the application of them correctly. And it's really about the client applying these principles in managing their own mind. So it's about them having personal control. And most people will agree that every illness has some emotional component to it. You know, whatever the percentage is, organic versus emotional, or how much is being caused emotionally, to whatever percent the emotions are driving the problem, that's kind of the percent we tell people you could expect to receive some benefit from or some relief by doing what we do.
Let's talk a little bit about pain management too, because that is a huge part of this as well. With all of these diseases, a lot of them come along a lot of pain.
Well, we treat pain as a behavior. So what that means is that when you have painful, self-inflicted, stinking thinking thoughts about yourself, self-incriminating, self-defeating, self-debilitating thinking, we believe that is painful to your spirit, so to speak, and it translates again through the brain as maladaptive energies. Those energies, again, have to be dropped off down through the central nervous system somewhere, and they will affect different glands, organs, and muscle groups again as maladaptive energy. In the net effect of those, when it causes those muscles or organs or whatever to twist and contort because of the negative energy that's there, that's where the pain comes from. People will come in and they'll have their shoulders all hunched up. You know, they've been carrying all this stress and weight in their shoulders. Well, when we go in and we address those worrisome, stressful issues again, and they finally address those and they learn to manage those in their own mind, now those muscles naturally relax, they naturally release. They're no longer in pain in their shoulders kind of thing, because the body adjusts as the mind resets the brain.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and it's fun to do. I know one of the things we get asked, a lot of people ask me, well, do you work with mental illness? And the answer to that is no. In the state of Utah, that's one of the things that by legislative direction we don't work directly with. With that being said, we do take referrals from doctors, psychologists, and so on to help people with that. But the part that we play on that is we become a support to those people in the behaviors that affect mental illness, but we don't necessarily work with the illness themselves. That's up to the doctors and the people who are doing that. But we play a support role to that. And then people who have a lot of migraine pain and so on, there's a certain percentage of the population out there, as we've learned from working with pain clinics, that are not responsive to a lot of the medications. And again, we find that those folks are the ones who have more stress-induced, emotionally induced migraine pain. And there seems to be some pain that doesn't, or some energy that doesn't release from the brain and go down into an organ, gland, or muscle group. That's what I observe, just from my observation. Again, I'm not a doctor or whatever, but I observe that some thought patterns don't release the negative energy out of the brain, they're actually maintained in the brain, and that's what becomes migraines in my view. Because when we're able to address those thoughts and we can change those thought patterns, the migraines also just kind of disappear. So that's kind of the stuff that we deal with on the health side.
But the whole process has taught me that you will feel better using your positive mind management and going in and finding the root to why it started in the first place. What was the reason your immune system started to go down and your defenses were down. And why is it that they can't find anything to help it? If you're in that situation and those are your prognoses, there's hope here with Dennis Parker in the Certified Hypnotherapy Training School. And here at the Certified Hypnotherapy Training School, you can come in and take the classes and be a non-certified student, learn all the same things, but pay less money. It's a discounted rate to just come and learn everything that they learn, not pay as much money, but leave with all the benefits. And you're even offering a deal right now today if they mention they saw us today on Talk365.
We're going to give you a free textbook package, which is a $200 value.
Even better for those that are thinking, hey, I don't need to be certified, I just want the information.
Right.
You're going to get a free textbook package. That means you're going to immediately get all that wonderful information just by saying you saw us on Talk365 today. So I would encourage that you go the school route. Use your money that you are doing for therapy and come to school, because like you said, the inside out is the best way to learn, and it's the best way to change your life, and the most permanent progress is the way I like to see it, because if you can do it yourself, that's permanent to me.
Well, if it is thought-induced and emotionally induced and you address that, then that corrects those things.
I love it. I love being empowered. I love everything that allows us to be able to live better, faster, stronger. All right, Dennis, thank you so much for all of the wonderful information. I love it. Be sure and check out all the other videos that are there and all of his information online if you are interested. And be sure and sign up for the school and mention you saw us here on the website. Mention Talk365 and have a wonderful day. Sign up now. What are you waiting for? Change your life with certified hypnotherapy right here at the Certified Hypnotherapy Training School.